Today we're talking about the Nvidia cache size malarkey thing that's been going on. There's been Reddit threads, Spectrum threads. There's been lots of people saying it's done something, and there's been lots of people saying it's done nothing. But if you have got no idea what we're talking about, I'll explain what's going on, and then we've done a lot of testing. I went down the rabbit hole on this one, tested all sorts of combinations to see what sort of improvement you've got by changing your Nvidia cache size. Let's get into it. So what's all this about? There was a Spectrum thread originally that was talking about this change you can make in the Nvidia control panel that will bring performance improvements. It actually got picked up by Ali Brown, so I've got some quotes here to talk us through. His first one was saying, I'm skeptical of this, as most of us are whenever there's some sort of performance improvement that can come from changing a setting. Most people are skeptical. Ali Brown was skeptical. He said, make sure you test without VSync, quite important because VSync does other things, and basically it shouldn't do anything. This shouldn't do anything. He said he'd be very surprised if caching the shaders made any difference to runtime performance after the first initial loading and streaming. He then went on to say you should probably test in single player mode. I would disagree. This whole channel is based on not testing in Arena Commander, and you can test in the PU, but you just have to do lots of runs, which I've done a lot of runs for this testing. But he basically says it's unlikely. There's a follow-up thread with some other things, and he responded in those ones as well. He said, just to update here, we've not investigated it, but there's a plausible explanation why it could be a thing, could be something going on with Nvidia and their drivers and things like that. And then a last one saying, yeah, thank you, this is very interesting. Yeah, it does seem like there's some driver shenanigans possible combined with a game like ours, which has a fairly huge number of shaders. There's not much we can do about it, just set the cache size to be higher. So again, they've not looked at it in detail. He's saying it's possible that there's something going on. So I've picked up all this, I've read through it all, and then got into the testing, and this is what I have found. Basically, I have found nothing. So I tested first with my 5900X and 3080 system with 32GB RAM. I tested in Lawville, no change, as you'll see here. And then I also tested, did some quantum travel testing, no change. So basically, in Lawville on this system, pretty much CPU bottlenecks with 3080, but in quantum travel, your GPU bottleneck. So both ways around, and no difference at all. So then I popped my 1060 from my minimum spec system. It's going to get complicated in with my the new test system, which has got a 12700KF in, so a very fast CPU and a minimum spec GPU. Tested in Lawville again, no difference. I then did the same test with, so that first of all was with 32 gigs of RAM. Then I did the test with 16 gigs of RAM, no difference. And then also I did the test with, rather than using the NVMe drive that's in there, I then got an old SSD and did the testing there, and no difference. And then finally, not actually finally, the next thing I did was then just get the minimum spec system itself with a low-end CPU and a low-end GPU, and I found no difference for that one. And then finally, I had a great bit of testing that I did with my amazing member Goldie. We basically got the same system, the 5900X and 3080, and we got on the same server. We both were in his Boundary Defender, and we were looking at the external view, so we had exactly the same view in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of space. And we took it in turns to log off and log on back into the exact same server in the same space, with the cache set to 10 gigabytes and also just with the driver default. So we went back and forth, and we found there was no difference between the two, no performance improvement in that case as well. So what I found is in the systems I've got, at least, I found no perceivable benefit from increasing the cache size, which is a shame. And I was quite determined to find something. That's why I tested so many different setups. But yeah, I just couldn't find anything. But as I say, that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't anything. It just means I haven't found it. So the recommendation with this is to really do some testing. I think I use this program called CapFrameX, which is brilliant. It ties into Riva tuner server statistics thing, the thing that comes with MSI Afterburner, and that pulls the data from the game. And I'd recommend, really, if you want to try this out, if you want to test this, do some runs with it on in the same place, turn it off, turn it back on again, or increase the size of the cache. Go back and forth over a number of different runs and record the results and see what they average out at. That's probably your best bet. But it's definitely worth giving it a go because so many people are reporting an improvement. But I can't find any in my systems. That's all I can say. So that's probably enough for this one. If you like this sort of more technical look at SATA System, please subscribe. You can like the video as well. And you can now become a member. And that's a wonderful thing, a wonderful way to support the channel as well. So thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye.